Welcome to the deep dive. Ever have those days, where you're just running flat out, calendars jammed, inboxes disaster, and then end of the day, you're lying there thinking, what did I actually get done today? Super busy, sure, but did anything important move forward?
That feeling. That gap between being busy and actually being, productive. It's really common, isn't it?
It really is. So we've spent some time digging into a whole load of source material articles, some research, practical guides, all about this exact issue, feeling swamped by time, basically, and how you can start to get a handle on it.
Yeah, not just for your 9 to 5, but for, everything, life.
Exactly. So our mission here is simple. Pull out the key stuff, the really practical ideas, and maybe more importantly, the mindset shifts that this material suggests can genuinely help you.
And it's interesting, right at the beginning, the sources really stress understanding why it's such a struggle. Before jumping straight to the how-to lists, gotta diagnose first.
Okay, yeah, let's start there then. Why is managing time so darn difficult for so many of us? The material points to, a few big things.
Well, number one is pretty obvious, I think. The sheer volume of distractions. I mean, your phone is buzzing constantly, right?
Oh, tell me about it.
Emails just keep coming. Social media is literally designed to grab your attention. It's like our focus is just pulled in a million directions at once.
Yeah, it's like trying to steer a ship in a hurricane of notifications. And the material links that directly to another big reason. Confusing being busy with being productive.
Yes. The busy trap.
Totally.
Yeah.
We think a packed schedule means we're achieving things. But the sources are clear. A full calendar doesn't automatically equal progress on your actual goals.
And then there's the one that might sting a little, as the material kind of hints. Often the root issue is we haven't actually figured out what's truly important to us.
So, because we lack that clarity.
We end up saying yes to almost everything. Every request, every meeting, every little thing that pops up, because we don't have a strong no filter based on priorities.
Right. The urgent stuff crowds out the important stuff.
Exactly. And when you say yes to everything, you're basically saying no to focusing properly on anything. You spread yourself way too thin, lots of motion, not much meaningful movement.
Okay, so constant distractions, mixing up busyness and productivity, and maybe not being clear on our core priorities. That definitely resonates. Feels like a good summary of the problem.
Yeah, it paints a picture.
But here's where it gets encouraging. The material really pushes back on the idea that some people are just naturally bad at time management.
It frames it as a skill, like learning anything else, something you can actually practice and improve.
That feels like a huge mental shift right there. Moving from, oh, I'm just disorganized, to, okay, this is a skill I can develop.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that leads straight into this foundational mindset shift the sources talk about.
Which is?
Well, the core idea is you can't really manage time. Time just passes, it does its thing.
Right, you can't add more hours to the day.
Exactly. What you can manage is where you put your attention, and crucially, what you decide your priorities are.
Okay, attention and priorities. That feels more active.
It is. And the material suggests this really powerful, simple language change to reinforce it. Instead of saying, I don't have time for X, try saying X is not a priority right now.
Ooh, okay. I don't have time to exercise versus exercise isn't a priority right now.
See how that feels different?
Yeah, it really does. The first one feels like a statement of fact, maybe a bit helpless.
Yeah.
The second one, it makes you own the decision. It's like, okay, I'm choosing not to prioritize this. It makes you think about what you are prioritizing instead.
That's exactly the point the sources make. It removes the excuse aspect and puts you back in control. You see the trade-offs you're making. It's about owning your choices.
Okay, I like that. Shifting from victim of time to owner of priorities. So if it's a skill and it's about managing attention and priorities, how do we actually do it? The material gets really practical here, right? Lots of tools.
Yeah, think of these as the how-to that builds on that mindset shift. Ways to put it into practice.
So first up, one you might have heard of, the Eisenhower matrix.
The classic urgent important grid.
Right. Simple concept. You take your tasks and sort them into 4 boxes.
You've got urgent and important, the fires, the crises, the deadlines. Got to do those now.
Then, important, but not urgent. This is the big stuff, right? Planning, relationship building, learning, health. Things that matter long-term but don't have that immediate pressure.
Exactly. Then there's urgent but not important. Lots of interruptions fall here. Some meetings, requests from others that feel pressing but don't align with your goals.
And the last box. Neither urgent nor important. The time wasters, basically. Mindless scrolling, busy work that achieves nothing.
And the huge insight the material pulls from this. Most of us live in the urgent and important box, firefighting mode.
Yeah, feels familiar.
But real progress, the strategic wins, the stuff that builds a better future, that happens in the important but not urgent quadrant. The Matrix helps you see that and consciously shift your focus there.
Okay, makes sense. See it, then act on it. Which kind of leads into the next tool, time blocking.
Yes. This is about moving beyond just a to-do list. You actually schedule blocks of time for specific tasks in your calendar.
Like you block out 9 to 11 a.m. for work on Project X.
Exactly. Or block time for checking email so it doesn't bleed into everything else. Block time for lunch, for exercise, for planning your week, even dinner with the family.
So it's not just appointments with others, but appointments with yourself and your priorities.
Precisely. The sources say it helps protect your focus during those blocks. It creates a structure, a rhythm, and reduces that constant, what should I do next? Decision fatigue.
I can see that. Okay, tool number 3 sounds almost too simple, the 2-minute rule.
Yeah, it's incredibly straightforward. The rule is, if a task pops into your head and you estimate it will take less than 2 minutes to complete.
Just do it right then and there.
Yep. Don't write it down, don't put it on a list, don't defer it, just knock it out.
What's the logic?
The thinking is the time and mental energy it takes to capture it, track it, and come back to it later often adds up to more than 2 minutes anyway.
Oh, okay. So it stops those tiny little tasks from piling up and becoming this big cloud of stuff I need to do someday.
Exactly. Keeps the decks clearer mentally and on your list.
Nice. Okay. What's next? The Pomodoro technique.
Named after those tomato-shaped kitchen timers.
Right. So the method is work intently on one thing for 25 minutes.
Total focus, no distractions. Then you take a short break, like 5 minutes, stretch, grab water, step away.
And you repeat that cycle.
Yeah, 4 times usually, 4 Pomodoros. After the 4th one, you take a longer break, maybe 20 or 30 minutes.
It sounds deceptively simple again. Why does the material say it's so effective?
Well, it kind of trains your brain to focus in short, manageable bursts, and the built-in breaks prevent burnout. It creates a rhythm of focused work and rewarding rest. Simple, but powerful for building concentration.
Okay, I can see how that would work. And the last tool mentioned is about looking ahead. The weekly planning session.
This one's more of a ritual, really. The suggestion is to set aside maybe 30 minutes, say, on a Sunday evening or Friday afternoon.
And in that time.
You look back at the week that just finished, what worked well, what didn't, any lessons learned.
A quick review.
And then, crucially, you look ahead. You identify your top, say, 1 to 3 priorities for the upcoming week. What are the most important things you want to accomplish?
So it sets your intention for the week.
Exactly. It shifts you from just reacting to whatever comes up each day to proactively deciding where your focus should be. The sources say this one habit can dramatically change your sense of control and effectiveness.
So a mix of tools here. The Matrix for sorting, time blocking, and Pomodoro for structuring work, the 2-minute rule for quick wins, and weekly planning for setting direction.
Yeah, and the material isn't saying, do all 5 immediately. It's more like pick 1 or 2 that resonate, experiment, see what fits your style.
Right, find what works for you. But underpinning all these techniques, there's another theme the material really emphasizes, something it calls one of the best time management tools out there.
And it's probably not what most people think of first.
Definitely not an app or a planner. It's the power of saying no.
It sounds simple, maybe even a bit harsh sometimes, but the principle is fundamental. Every single time you say yes to a request or an opportunity,
You're automatically saying no to something else you could have done with that time and energy.
Exactly. And often that something else is your own important work, your goals, your downtime, maybe even your sleep.
That's a powerful way to frame it. Makes you think twice before automatically agreeing.
Totally. The material uses this great analogy. Think about protecting your time and energy. Like you protect your money, your capacity, your focus. It's like a currency. It's finite.
So you need to invest it wisely. Spend it on things that actually give you a good return.
Precisely. Don't just give it away to every request that comes along. And seeing it that way helps reframe boundaries. Saying no isn't necessarily rude.
It's responsible.
Yeah.
Responsible to yourself, to your priorities, to managing your own capacity.
Responsible stewardship of your own energy. Which, interestingly, leads right into the final, maybe most surprising point from these sources, especially given our kind of hustle culture world.
Which is?
The absolute necessity of building in rest, real rest.
Yeah. This feels important. Goal isn't just to cram more stuff in, right?
Not at all, according to this material. Time management, done well, isn't about maximizing sheer output 24/7. It's about doing the right things, the important things, and doing them well. And doing things well requires downtime.
It pushes back hard against that constant grind mentality.
Right. It really does. It points to, actual science and just lived experience. We're not machines. We need breaks.
So the sources talk about deliberately building in space.
Yes. Not just the 5-minute Pomodoro breaks, but proper sleep, real vacations, moments of quiet during the day, even allowing yourself time to just daydream or be bored.
Boredom gets such a bad rap, but maybe it's useful.
That's exactly what the material suggests.
Wow.
It argues that this unproductive time isn't wasted. It's often in those moments of rest, of letting the mind wander, that the creative connections happen.
So that's when insights pop up, or you suddenly get clarity on a problem.
Precisely. You need that space for your brain to process, connect the dots, and, frankly, recharge. Sustainable productivity needs recovery built in.
Okay, so that brings a lot of threads together. Let's try and quickly sum up the key takeaways from this deep dive based on the source material.
Sounds good.
First, that big mindset shift. Stop trying to manage time. Focus on managing your attention and priorities. Remember that it's not a priority reframing.
Own your choices. Then experiment with some practical tools, maybe the Eisenhower matrix for clarity, or time blocking for structure, the 2-minute rule for efficiency, Pomodoro for focus, weekly planning for direction. Find your fit.
Don't forget the power of no. Learn to say it strategically and responsibly to protect that precious time currency. Set those boundaries.
Crucial. And finally, embrace rest. Build it in. See it not as laziness, but as an essential ingredient for creativity, clarity, and doing your best work sustainably.
It all paints a picture of intentionality, doesn't it? Time won't magically appear, but the sources argue strongly that you can reclaim control by being deliberate about where your focus goes.
Absolutely. It's about conscious choices, not just reacting to the tide.
So as we wrap up, here's a final thought for you to consider, kind of building on what we've discussed from the material. The sources link not knowing what matters to saying yes too much, and they stress saying no to protect your goals and peace.
Right.
So maybe ask yourself this: what specific, truly important thing, important to you, are you currently saying no to, just by default? Simply because you haven't actively made it a priority and protected the time for it against all the noise and the less important demands filling your days.
That's a powerful question to sit with.
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.